Goodness me.
What happened there? I know you seem too busy to have a dating life. You're a good-looking man. I mean,
Whittingham is leaving again now.
Good save. Good save,
Is
What
just
happened there?
he is broken.
You're a good-looking man.
Stugotz,
he's a good-looking man. He's a nice man. He'd be a great
Stugotz,
catch. There's no
that's
doubt
not,
about it.
Okay, you're walking things back.
I am not. He's a very busy man right now.
Okay, but you just insulted him and he left the room, and you can say you didn't mean to be offensive or that what you said wasn't offensive, but he just left the room because he was offended by the shock of you saying you have a dating life, as if, again, and he was an anatomically incorrect doll that didn't have any genital parts.
What I meant to say is...
That's worse than anything Stugotz said.
Wait a second. Thank you.
That is not a compliment to either of us.
It felt like one. What I was trying to say is you have time for a dating life right now, because we all know that Wittyngham is a great catch, but you have time to go out on dates?
I mean, everyone has time, don't they?
Stugotz is sweating right now.
Yeah, it's deeply insulting. Let's move on to other things.
Did I get myself out of it?
No, you did not.
I didn't.
I think so.
Speaking of deeply insulting, a tweeter writes in, I'm 110% certain on Kyrie's future. He will be what he has always been, a bum, a buster, a cancer on his team. Like most young people these days, wants everything handed to them but don't want to work. A buster. What's
like the Kim Kardashian sound that's all over TikTok. No one wants to go to work these days. No one wants to get up, get out, and go to work.
What is the over-under on the age of a person who insults another person by calling them a buster?
Huh.
Is that an old people insult?
I feel like it's young. Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like it's both. I feel like
if you say, hey, Buster,
No,
that's different.
yeah,
then
that's
you're
old.
old.
That's
right.
old.
Is he saying Buster or Busta? Because those are two different things.
It's not
It's a big difference. Roy's right.
It's a hard ER.
Good follow-up, Roy.
Yes, please be careful. I want to move on as Roger Goodell is going to, or might be right now, I don't know the timing of these things, but he is going to be the public piñata who makes the millions of dollars to be the representative who takes the beating so the owners don't have to. He is reading prepared statements or is about to read prepared statements about his Washington football problem, the toxicity in his environment, the problem that is Daniel Snyder, an enormous headache, Stugotz. This is fascinating in the power corridors of the very, very highest form of country club that we have anywhere. The boys club of NFL ownership, where a Denver franchise just went for $4.65 billion. We told you John Elway cost himself $1 billion by not doing some easy things on ownership that he could have done with an NFL franchise when he had the maximum power in Denver. It's one of the plays that Brady was just trying to make because he realized, wait a minute, I've got so much power as a quarterback that I might be able to get into the highest tier of this thing, which is the white guys club that very soon nobody's going to be able to afford. Because you go to $4.65 million on Denver. What's Washington worth?
$4.65 billion, right.
What is Washington worth when it's
$4.65
billion? We will talk business of sports with David Sampson and John Skipper tomorrow, and they will give you, I've said this many times all over whenever anyone's listening, I have never heard in this sphere, not just now, but ever, sports business talk that has the expertise than the way that Sampson and Skipper can talk about something like what the Washington football team is worth. But I wanted to go over with you guys two stories that appear now in the Washington Post. As you have the backstory, it is said that Jeff Bezos, one of the few people in the world who can afford one of these things, wants to get into NFL ownership. Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. The Washington Post is the one doing the most aggressive reporting that embarrasses Daniel Snyder on his own ownership of the Washington Commanders. So they had two stories today, Stugotz. One of them, a former Washington NFL employee, accused Daniel Snyder in April of 2009 of asking her for sex, groping her, and attempting to remove her clothes, according to a letter sent by an attorney for the team to the woman's lawyer that year. And also Mark Maskey, who's been reporting for the Washington Post for a long time, says these are new details. Daniel Snyder and his representatives conducted a shadow investigation, created a dossier, and tried to blame workplace issues on Bruce Allen, according to the House Oversight Committee's investigation. Bruce Allen is the disgraced executive, Mr. Editor, according to Adam Schefter, who's at the center of John Gruden losing his job and a leakage and a lawsuit and whatever mess that is. So Goodell has to go in front of Congress today. And here are some of the details in this story because this gets cumbersome and it's not going to be covered well enough because it's a lot. But Daniel Snyder is at the height of power in that sport. He's litigious. The other owner's a little afraid of him. And it's hard to take away a rich man's team. But man, oh man, these details are where you'd take away a rich man's team. The woman accuses Snyder of asking her for sex, groping her, attempting to remove her clothes. She alleged the assault occurred in a private, partitioned area at the back of one of the team's private planes during a return flight from a work trip to Las Vegas. There's the existence of a $1.6 million settlement that was first reported by the Post in 2020. Details of her allegations have not been previously reported. They emerge as the NFL investigates a separate accusation of sexual harassment against Snyder, and as members of Congress press the team and the NFL for information about the league's year-long investigation, of sexual harassment at the franchise, which concluded in 2021 with no public report of investigative findings. The team's investigation in 2009, according to the letter, was overseen by then General Counsel David Donovan, who reported to Snyder. There are accusations of lying during an investigation, a letter states, by claiming that she maintained an impeccable personal and professional reputation. To undermine that claim, Donovan cited allegations about the woman's personal conduct, including that she wore revealing clothing and flirted with other men on the trip to Vegas. The Post described the team investigation as summarized in the letter to 3 experts in sexual assault investigations who said the team may have been justified in concluding that the woman's claim was unsubstantiated. But these experts said the evidence cited in the letter does not prove the woman fabricated her claims, and they criticized the inclusion of potentially damaging allegation about the woman's personal life, regardless of Donovan's rationale. These are long stories. Both of them are comprehensive, and they've got a lot of information in them that suggest bad behavior. And I ask you, Stugotz, as we have in Washington at other hearings about democracy being attacked, we have audio now of Donald Trump trying to pressure AGs, bullying them.
Not trying to pressure, he was pressuring them.
In a way that was threatening and seems like an abuse of power. What's it going to take away Daniel Snyder's team? He's off in the shadows, but it's sort of like the Vince McMahon suspension or the Vince McMahon stepping down. He's got creative control, and his daughter is still running the franchise as he tries to withstand the allegations of his bad behavior. What do I need to put in front of you when I have women testifying right and left in order to jeopardize Daniel Snyder's career?
There's been enough put in front of me already. So it's really a matter of what needs to be put in front of Roger Goodell and the NFL and the other owners for them to, try to get Daniel Snyder out. But it's just not that easy. Like we discussed Donald Sterling earlier. Look what it took to get Donald Sterling out of the NBA. These things they seem cut and dry. It seems like we have enough information. It seems like it would be an easy decision, but it's not, because there are lawyers, there are legal stuff, there's legal language. And so for me, I have enough, but does the NFL?
But when I tell you there's a 100-slide dossier, information obtained through abusive litigation tactics and private investigators who targeted victims and witnesses of the Commanders' toxic work environment. So it's not just that it's toxic, Stugotz. Now it's the power leaning on women. What do I have to do? The league now is conducting a second investigation of Snyder that is being overseen by attorney Mary Jo White. Goodell has pledged to release these findings after he refused to release Wilkinson's findings and saying that Wilkinson delivered only an oral report to the league. The memo also cites instances in which Snyder took no action against coaches and senior staff, yet punished female employees for engaging in consensual relationships with male staff. David Pauken, the team's former COO, told the committee that when Snyder learned that a coach had groped a public relations employee, Snyder refused to take action against the coach and instead directed that the PR staffer stay away from the coach. He also testified that Snyder fired female employees who engaged in consensual relationships with male members of the team or its staff. He cited 2 cheerleaders' dismissal for relationships with former tight end Chris Cooley. Roger Goodell will go up there and he will take his beating today, and Snyder will decline and has declined every invitation to go speak for himself. He can continue to hide in the shadows. And you should know, as an audience who loves this league, and I love that league too, that the commissioner is doing his job today to be a public punching bag for Congress so that Daniel Snyder can hide behind him and never have to appear, send out a minion over there to take the beating, take the questions, take whatever public disgrace there is in asking a leader, how could you allow such a prevailing attitude of frat boy to oversee your environment?
The only thing that reaches the NFL owners is probably further investigate. If the House Oversight Committee decides, okay, maybe this isn't just isolated to the Washington football team, and there's going to be congressional investigations into the NFL at league office level, at other team level. If they try to find a bigger pattern of behavior that spans across other teams, and it's not just a Daniel Snyder problem, and Daniel Snyder is the one that opened the can of worms that has forced Congress to investigate them. But to Stugotz's point, it really comes down to, do 24 owners or shame force Daniel Snyder to sell the team? And I honestly don't know which would seem more stubborn against that. If it's 24 NFL league owners who don't want to, as Mark Cuban has done in the past, set a precedent for things that could take away their team, or if it's Daniel Snyder who took 20 years to change the name of his team, never mind let it go, and is still negotiating for a new stadium and took a $10 million fine and didn't go to this Congressional Oversight Committee because he's in the south of France when he could have done it over Zoom. Like, this is a very stubborn man. This is a very stubborn organization. And those are the only two. It doesn't appear to be public pressure. It doesn't even appear to be Congress that's going to force him to sell this team.
Just so you know, I want you, as there are dossiers and there's lawyers and there are private investigators, I want the people listening to this to see the overt and brazen show of power in, no, you will not question me. Your answer to, I have a toxic workplace environment, why? I don't have to answer you, Congress. I'm not, no, I'm in the south of France. Goodell, can you get out there for me? Like, it's my toxic workplace environment. Goodell, can you fly your ass to Washington and get out there for me? And you answer the questions. I don't have to answer. Like, to me, it's just the height of
It's
rich
gross,
guy.
Dan.
No, but it's where rich guy power resides. You can send out a $34 million a year lackey, a suit, to go take the beating on your behalf, and you don't even have to answer the questions. As we have heard again and again detailed, the women talk about what it was like to work in that place, Stugotz. It felt like a place that was not very welcoming to women, that there was, if not criminal behavior, borderline criminality in the toxicity that was around these women who were perpetually being sexually harassed.
The Goodell portion of this is kind of fascinating to me. Like, I get doing your job and standing up there and being a shield, but isn't there a line? Shouldn't there be a line where Roger Goodell says, hey, you know what? No, I'm not doing my job today. What's going on down there is really, really bad, and I want to get to the bottom of it.
How many people quit their job over the principle? How many people quit a job like that? What do you want them to do? Resign? What do you mean no? No is not one of the answers. He works for them. What do you mean no? No to his boss? No, Daniel
no to one of his bosses, who's a really bad dude.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Take a moral stand. At what cost?
I mean, his job probably. Yeah.
I mean, Jerry Jones.
He's made enough money.
Jerry Jones and Snyder, for a while, it felt like the reporting suggests that they were conspiring to get rid of Goodell because they can. It wouldn't have taken much more than two of them to gather all the country club members, the other country club member. The problem is that none of these guys like Snyder either. The problem is that all of them,
but is that a problem?
He would skate forever. I'm amazed by the power. I'm awed by the power that Snyder has, that he can withstand with his money. Not just all of this stuff that is a stain that would make anyone want him gone. Like his minority owners don't get along with him. The way that you get gone in this sport, this is what happened to Sterling, is the other owners, that was the last embarrassment. They were tired of all the embarrassments. I'm stunned by the power of this dude that he could fight all of them off because they don't want him there anymore. But he can fight all of them off for now. I don't think he's going to win. I think he's going to end up losing his team. But the stubborn defiance in the south of France, I will not answer your questions. I do not have to, even though I oversaw a toxic environment that has me enduring a $10 million fine. But I'm not allowed on the premises in certain places, but it's all optics, cosmetics. It's all nonsense. He still runs that team, and he still runs it poorly.
But he has no reason to think otherwise. That's been Daniel Snyder's life his entire life. Do whatever I want, whenever I want. Don't answer to anyone. Send up Roger Goodell. Let him deal with it. That's been his life.
Ladies, hello. I don't want to make the same mistake that I made last time when I apologized to all of you. So on the front end of this, what I would like to do, so that it's not just me answering or asking you questions and you guys answering. If you have a couple of things that you'd like me to throw your way, I will play around it too. But I'd like you to be able to interact with each other as opposed to I talk, you talk, so that people can get a flavor. I want to get more out of the way than I was in the last time. And so if you guys have a couple of things that I can throw your way that you three feel like you're good on, let me know what that is so that I can just throw it your way and you can interact on it.
I mean, I think the Paul Maurice hiring for sure is one. Shana, you can go first on that.
I mean, Roy is going to start us there. Roy, so they can see you. Roy is going to start us there because he's going to start us on the Panthers hiring. What else can I do with you?
Anything from the awards, you guys?
Did anyone win that we didn't agree with?
Well, I voted for Igor for the Hart, and
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Let's do that.
The Hart Trophy Award winner from last night.
Remarkable amount of chest hair he was showing on television. It was strange. That was quite a look from him. Also, his the
headband, the Amazon headband,
massive forehead as well.
There was something going on.
I like the consistency of the headband. It's the same from in play to fancy events.
Why did Austin Matthews' suit have bees on it? Did anyone explain that?
Why not?
Well, fair.
The NHL's really fun TikTok did a fashion thing with him, and he was like, I'm wearing Gucci all over.
Gucci all over.
If they dressed me. Okay.
If that isn't the most, oh my God. Suit by Drake.
Roy, whenever you want to get us started, that is fine. I will find the places to promote what it is that they're doing tonight. What time are we starting that tonight?
8 p.m. Eastern.
Good job, Shana.
I'm a morning person now, Allison.
I can tell.
So, Sarah, Allison, and Shana, the Florida Panthers have decided to hire Paul Maurice as their new head coach, replacing Andrew Brunette. How do we feel about this hiring?
You were very excited, Roy. You were telling everybody. You're wandering around here telling everybody, and everybody's yawning right in your face.
No, it's a big moment. They've left Andrew Brunette in purgatory for a month. Wow. And now they finally decided to hire a coach. It came out of nothing. I didn't even see his name in the rumored interest.
I thought it would be Barry Trotz.
Yeah, Trotz is out there.
Well, there's a reason for that. He resigned from his post with the Winnipeg Jets midseason. So, I didn't think he was going to get rehired, but the Panthers decided to go that way instead of Barry Trotz. What do you guys think about this?
I respected that he kind of walked away mid-season because it wasn't aligning with his vision, the Jets, and I think he wanted more offense. So I do feel like that is low-key not the worst move that's ever happened. I don't know if Shana agrees or disagrees with me.
Well, he probably resigned thinking I could have another job in 5 minutes because I'm a former NHL head coach, and look what happened. No one even was talking about him, and boom, he has a job, and a very good one at that. I don't think that Andrew Brunette was this incredible coach. We talked about this a lot on the podcast. He was given the keys of a very well-oiled machine, and all he had to do was keep it afloat. And he did to a point. And when they needed adjustments, he did not have them at all in the postseason. I put a lot of their failures on management for who they acquired, like, I don't know, Ben Sherratt and thinking that would work. And I put failures on him for not adjusting. Is Paul Maurice the answer? Probably not. Was he very good in Winnipeg? Not really, but sure, go off.
I just can't believe that it took this long. I mean, like Sarah said, Paul Maurice has just been hanging out, eating his poutine, waiting for someone to call him on the phone. Like, why do we do? Because again, it's not just the choice, it's how the choice went down, right? And Roy, I so respect you have the playoff stats, which I love, but I don't understand why it took this long. I feel like that's kind of crappy to do to Bruno. And, you know, this is a guy who was a finalist for Coach of the Year. And now they're saying, the reports as we are talking here now are that there's going to be a significant position offered to him. But like, if you were head coach, everything's a step back after that. I don't know how you take that, particularly after this long delay.
Well, clearly the Panthers' problem is not offense, it's defense. And will Maurice be the right hire for that?
Was it in the playoffs, though?
In the playoffs, they couldn't even...
But that's how we have to judge them now. I know that, like, as Panther fans, we only really think of them as a regular season team because they never make the playoffs. But the biggest issue in the playoffs is they scored 3 goals in 4 games against the Lightning. Does this coach help solve that problem?
Well, it's not just that. They couldn't score on the power play, so it's a special teams problem as well.
Roy, why are you so excited? Because he's a
I'm not.
Roy.
That's not, it was not my choice for the hockey. I'm not excited about this.
You were excited that there was news, not about the news.
But yes. I'm not excited. This is a downgrade for the Panthers. This is a 500 career coach who just quit on his team. I don't want my head coach to be a guy who just quit on the last team. I mean, that's not leadership.
That's fair.
You know? Thank you.
Roy, did you like Brunette or did you want somebody else?
I wanted Barry Trotz.
I wanted Barry Trotz. It was pretty clear that
The
they
only
were
name
not.
I know.
It was pretty clear that the Panthers weren't going to take the interim tag off of Brunette. Wow. So his job was pretty much done.
But why? Like, there had to have been something that the Panthers know about Andrew Brunette that would indicate that he's not head coach material. Yeah.
I mean, he's never done the job before.
I need a take. I don't want to hear from Roy or Stugotz. I need takes here. First of all, put on the poll, please, at LeBatard Show. Thank you. Yes, too many men. Jesus Christ.
You got that right.
Have you insulted
women on the Zoom right now, and they're spoken like 6 words total.
Have you put it on the poll? Have you insulted someone when you say they are hanging around eating poutine at LeBatard Show?
Delicious.
Please, ladies, explain to us what we've missed here. Terrible hire, great hire. Who should have been hired?
Anyone different. That would have been nice. It would be really nice to see the same, like anyone outside the same, 35 coaches who just keep going around the cycle, because for the most part, they don't change anything between their tenures. You look at Peter DeBoer. What has he done differently between San Jose, Vegas, New Jersey, and now he has a job with the Dallas Stars, which is an odd fit as it is. You could look at someone like John Tortorella, who Allison can speak, about a lot more. When he stepped back from Vancouver, changed his approach and tried to look at things differently. So that's something I don't know if Paul Maurice has done. Maybe he has. He's had time off. Maybe he did something aside from just eating poutine. But at the moment, I don't understand the hiring.
Well, and it's weird, right? Because if you think about it, Florida obviously has a high-powered offense. And sure, we can talk about maybe needing to bolster their defense. But I'm going to get on my positionless hockey train and say, let's think about how to play this game differently. If you have that kind of offensive star power and some burgeoning talent in goal, you can't just bring in a coach who's going to make them better defensively, because you're going to need to be able to harness and hold on to that offensive power while strengthening defensive play. And we can do that differently now in hockey than saying block shots, be sound in the defensive zone. We can talk about different thoughts on positioning and attack from an offensive perspective to control the game without saying they need to be stronger defensively. So to Shayna's point, I mean, I'm sure there are coaches right now that are at lower levels of hockey that could think about this differently than saying there are only this many men, white men, who've coached in the NHL, and now who do we have to interview? Because we can only interview them. We can't talk to anyone else ever in the world of hockey.
Yeah. And within the pool of people that are generally hired, I thought Bruce Cassidy would be good in Florida because he's good at honing in on that offense. He's good at shifting the power play and making those moves. So I thought he would have been good, but he got hired by Vegas in less than a week. So that tells you that you got to be fast.
The awards were given out. I don't know if you guys have any objections. Do you have any controversial vantage points here? Anything to tell the people why it is they should be watching tonight on YouTube during a live party? You guys are doing a watch party on our YouTube channel, Too Many Men Podcast. If you're interested in this game, and why would you not be? Because Tampa's impossible to kill. They're vampires, and Colorado is what I thought the Panthers were supposed to be. They will be breaking this down in a way much smarter than we do around here. But from the awards that were given out yesterday, what do you got that's hot takey for us?
Well, I voted for Igor Shesterkin for the Hart, and he did not get it. Austin Matthews got it because Toronto, and he had a great season. He was number 2 for me. But Igor, and Shayna, I know you have stats on this. Igor held the Rangers by a thread, and like you could see this in the playoffs, even though it's not a postseason award. In the regular season, he was the reason they were in like 80% of the games. Shayna, thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, we can pat Toronto on the back for getting a win in June. That's a huge milestone for them. We should be really excited for them. I think this year was tough. Like the field was really stacked, and you could look outside the top 3 at Cale Makar and Johnny Gaudreau and make a case for literally any of them. So it's not like there's any big losers here. But when you're talking about a goaltender who is as elite as Shesterkin was, and he saved almost 35 goals above expected in the regular season. I think he had 36 quality starts, which means he gave his team a chance to win, and 9 stolen wins. That's pretty impressive, especially when you consider the rise of scoring this year. So if the Maple Leafs didn't have Matthews, they probably would have been okay, maybe not as strong. If the Oilers didn't have McDavid, well, at least they have Draisaitl when he had 2 legs that functioned. But if the Rangers didn't have Shesterkin, and they saw it whenever he was injured, they really didn't have a shot because they had work to be done defensively, and they were lackluster offensively. So of all years, most valuable player without a question in my mind.
Yeah, and I guess I'm team think about the game differently today. That's my new hashtag. But why can't we give this award to a goaltender? I think Austin Matthews had an incredible season, no doubt. I'm not going to get it. Don't come after me, Maple Leafs fans. We already give you enough crap as it is. But again, if a goaltender is truly the difference maker for your team, why can't we start saying just because this player doesn't skate out that they can in fact be the best that there is?
Sarah, should the awards get over themselves and just we talk about this as the MVP rather than the Hart Trophy?
100%. 100%. That would change it. Or they need 2 trophies. I'm on the 2 trophy team. I think you want one that the MVP and then the best. Like there's 2 different meanings here, and people vote accordingly to what they think. So then like you got half the people saying Austin Matthews, half the people saying Igor.
Did I hear, because it seemed cold to me, I heard the phrase when he had 2 legs that functioned. And if any of us like were playing playoff hockey and finals hockey, and somebody disparagement of how we were playing on a bad leg was the idea that I don't have a functioning leg, that sounds cruel to me.
And Draisaitl looked broken by the end of that Western Conference. I was stunned that he could stand up at the end of that Western Conference.
I know, but it seems cruel. What does he need to be? He needs to be tougher because he doesn't have functioning legs?
No. He was elite. He was better on one leg than most players are, with full functioning every single body part. Like he is an elite player, and he created a ton of offense even when he was completely broken. But that team is Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and a couple things slapped around them. So that's on the Oilers, not on us.
Wait, so you were complimenting there? That was a compliment.
That was not a compliment. I was
a one-legged hockey player would be wild, though.
Yes, that would be hard.
That would be tough. He had 2 legs technically, and he could barely push off on his stride. I mean, I can't be talking. He could probably still kick my ass with 1 leg versus me out there ready to go tomorrow.
I'd like to.
Willie O'Ree played with 1 eye, with one functioning.
Yes, that's true.
Wow.
It's just hockey. It's just hockey. Yes. Can you function with 1 functioning eye and anywhere else other than hockey?
I mean, we saw Nick Paul get hurt, and he came back in Game 3 and scored a goal, and then he left. I mean, will Nick Paul or Braden Point return for this series?
I don't think Point will. I think Paul will. I don't think Point will. I think he's done.
It depends if it goes to a game 7, because then they'll come back with their like punctured lungs. That's what Patrice Bergeron did. So
Yes, of course. It's so easy to come back from a punctured lung.
Hang on a
No,
second,
what's the
hang
big
on a
deal?
second.
It's just a punctured lung.
Patrice Bergeron came back with a punctured
It's just
lung
a
for a game
punctured lung.
7?
A second later.
2011, baby.
Lunatic.
God.
What is the greatest example of lunacy that you guys have? I love to tell the story of Roenick. Just after 40 days, doctor told him he needed to take 40 days, the wire in his jaw, and the doctor wouldn't take it, said he wasn't ready after 40 days, and so he just did it himself with pliers.
And what year was it, Sarah, that Gregory Campbell played on a broken leg in the final?
2011.
There you go.
That was my Bruins
That
team.
Bruins team, man.
How is that even possible? Can you explain it to me, please? How do you play on a broken leg? Hey, what are you talking about?
It's insane. Sarah, it's your team. Go on.
I can't explain it. They wanted the cup that bad, I guess. And I don't know if that's actually helping the team, but I guess they all look at each other and say, well, if he's playing with that, I'm playing with this.
I want to bring you guys in on a discussion we were having earlier. Jessica said we're not warm enough in the morning. Wittyngham was accused of being insincerely caring about people because he just greets them with, hey, y'all right? And he doesn't actually care about what their answers are. What do you say by way of insincere greeting to somebody just to check in with them? Is there any sort of phrase that you use to project caring that isn't actually there?
Ooh. I mean, I think you ask someone how they are, and then whatever they say, I always say, good.
Whatever.
What's the fifth good mean?
Whatever they say, the response is like, if somebody says, I'm sorry, my spine has been leaking for weeks, your answer is good.
It's a fantastic
damn,
answer.
that's crazy.
Damn, that's crazy. Great shout.
No way.
Let me ask you a question, though. Like, you guys communicate every day, presumably, for the podcast. Do you still say, hi, good morning, how are you? Or do you just get right to it?
No, Allison greets me because she makes me get up in the morning now. And it'll be like Allison deciding we're starting at, let's say, 9:30. And there I show up at 9:45, ready to go, happy as a clam. And, you know, she does greet me and say good morning, but it's more in a taunting way because she knows I hate every second of being up that early.
9:45? Is that's early for you?
Well, yeah. Like, look, we work nights and things like that. And I like to write like till 6 or 7 in the morning sometimes because that's when I can focus. So I want to sleep in. Otherwise, I'm going to be falling asleep all day.
That is peak writing time. You are right. It's like, it's quiet. I do the same thing. Yeah, I like to write. It's quiet. You really have your thoughts to yourself. It is peak writing time.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Do you know why clams are happy? And do you think of clams as happy at Le Batard Show? Because I don't know. Happy as a clam. Why?
It's because when you open it, it looks like it's smiling at you. I think.
You know that for a fact?
No, but just like picture a clam. It looks like a little smile.
I don't know if that's true, but I believe it.
Yeah, you're with me.
That sounds right.
Maybe it's horrified. It's like,
Right now, everybody
Why
close
is
your
this
eyes.
human being
Picture a clam.
doing?
Picture a clam.
Yes, no, not
Nice.
happy.
Delightful.
Horrified.
See, this is all very strategic bias. Between the three of us, we have 24-hour coverage of all the goings-on in hockey.
There we go.
Same as just the night shift.
Yes.
At 8 p.m. tonight on YouTube, and we're really excited to have them be a part of the family. You should. These hockey playoffs have been amazing. The Too Many Men podcast with Sarah Sivian, Allison Lucan, and Shayna Goldman. They joined the Le Batard and Friends network here, and we've enjoyed their coverage of the final and really all of it because I wanted, I don't know how historic this is. Maybe you guys can help me. The cursory coverage we've had around here is the Tampa Bay Lightning, the most impressive champion since blank. The idea that they keep slaloming through this insanity and end up at the end, I don't know where to place it in history's context if they manage to somehow win 3 of the next 4 games.
They're going to go dynasty status, right? Like they're going to get compared to like the Islanders of the 80s and the Oilers, and rightfully so. And I think you could even kind of link them to the Blackhawks, who did manage 3 championships in 5 or 6 years. But it's the fact that Tampa's doing it in the salary cap era is so impressive. And through the environment of the last 2 years, and yes, they were flexible with the cap rules because they exploited loopholes. And if you're mad about it, just be mad that your team isn't smart enough to do it themselves. But what they're doing is really incredible. And this year, they're legitimately going through the best team in the league to try to go for that three-peat. And, it's historic for sure.
I hate when people put an asterisk because it was happening during the pandemic or in the bubble. I've talked to so many players that said that was the hardest experience of their life, winning a cup or not, being away from your family for so long and just trying to compete without fans in the stands. I think that's actually harder than regular playoff times.
Yeah, I mean, the mental burden, not just of being away from your families, but they were basically in isolation with not a lot to do besides eat and play hockey. And so I'm very anti-asterisks on this. And as much as we love the numbers and what the stats tell us, like you can literally see switches flip in this Tampa Bay team and they just turn on their will and say, we're not going to lose this game. And it's pretty impressive to see.
The Rangers had a chance to knock them out, a good chance to knock them out. The Colorado Avalanche had a 1-0 lead in Game 3. They were up 2-0. Do you guys agree when I say if you're going to beat a John Cooper coach team, you have to plan on going to his funeral afterwards? And when you get to the funeral, you have to kill him again.
Yeah, burn the coffin. You need to burn the cemetery. You're going to need
it's a serious question, Sarah. I'll start with you.
And if he emerges from the grave, you're going to have to stab him to death because it's not allowed. He won't allow it.
5,000%. But I also think Jared Bednar is the same way, and that's why this Stanley Cup final has been so entertaining. These two coaches are awesome.
No, wait a minute. You're saying exactly the same way. You're saying that we've got two unkillables. You're alleging equally no. Everyone's alleging that we've got equally unkillables.
Yeah, don't check the Jack Adams votes from the last few years because you wouldn't know that either one's a good coach. You would see, I don't know, Gerard Gallant, Andrew Burnett, and Daryl Sutter are the great coaches around the league and not John Cooper and Jared Bednar.
Sarah, real quick before you get out of here, you work at The Athletic, and this week we have been talking about the New York Times ownership of The Athletic and the rules that are, hey, no political commentary away from what it is that you're doing. Do I put you in a bad spot asking you about the position that you're in?
No, I can talk about it. I tweeted that I'm not gonna, we signed to The Athletic knowing we could say basically whatever we wanted. And that was kind of the pull of working there for a lot of people. And we're kind of sifting through what this means now, like what is political, right? Because that has changed through no faults of some of our own, right? Like some people's identities are inherently political now because one side has viewed it as political. And I think if you come at something with facts, you should be allowed to say it, right? Like objectively, there are laws being put in place against trans people by certain politicians. And I think if you say that sentence, it's ridiculous if someone tries to fire you for that, right? I just think I'd like to see more specifics of this policy because until then, I don't really know what they deem political and what they don't.
We were talking earlier about attending weddings. And when the camera guy at a wedding walks around the wedding, are you guys one that will hide from the camera? Or are you putting on a show for the camera at a wedding?
He's coming to your table. They're asking for a little video, a little clip.
Yes. Do you hide from the cameras? Do you celebrate the cameras? How do you guys handle this awkward situation where you have to say things on that profess your love to the couple if you do indeed love them?
That was a transition.
I loved it. I love that Chris Cody. Thank you for calling that out. We went straight from Chris.
That's on me, huh?
No, it's not on you.
He's doing his best.
I sat there with silence, and everyone looked at me like, "Go ahead, Chris. You're next."
You know what? It's totally fair. I'm glad you called us out on it because it was the worst transition in the history of the show.
There was no transition.
There was no transition. You fell.
There was an awkward pause.
No.
Speaking of love, let's go to weddings.
We transitioned so effortlessly between politics and
well, right before that, you ask, you're allowed to criticize your bosses publicly for their policies. So.
Yeah, what if she said, yes, I can't answer this?
I did. It's on me.
Tonight, 8 p.m. on our YouTube channel, and you should also be listening to the Too Many Men podcast.
I want an answer to that question.
Maybe they'll answer it tonight.
Let's tease.
Tease it.
We'll tease it there for the audience at 8 p.m.
I can send
tonight.
you guys the origins of Happy as a Clam if you want to reveal that on the YouTube channel as well.
Is it what Chris Cody said?
It's not.
Ladies, thank you. Look forward to tuning in tonight.
Thanks so much.
guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Looking forward to watching tonight.
That was fun.
Thanks all. Appreciate it.
All right. See ya.
Is there anything that we can do? Hold on, before you guys leave. Is there anything that we can do with our audience to help them here? Is there anything to have to interact with our audience in social or anything else? If it's answering the question of happy as a clam or whatever it is there anything that can be interactive with our show that would allow us to support what they're doing this evening? I don't have to have this conversation with you guys here. I can talk to them about that off the air.
Okay.
But if you have any ideas, send them our way.
Yeah.
So that we can allow our
I know
audience
Mike has been running point on that.
to play with you guys, to play, like if there's anybody going to be answering, I don't know, answering things or however it is that you're doing it to help our audience support you.
We do have a drinking game that we play.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm in.
What is the
everybody
drinking
has
game?
a word. Each of us have a word. We say way, way, way too much. And so whenever we say the word, people have to drink.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
You're going to get people aggressively drunk.
Yeah, the
I will.
verbal
Or
pick
snacks.
drinking game,
snacks, as Shayna
dangerous
said.
game.
You can also have a snack.